In today's shift, I find out how much it is for a full English breakfast in a green cabman shelter.
Oh, that's exactly what I want it to be.
What happens when you take the passenger to the wrong location? And I secure myself one of the best going home jobs I've had in months.
Right, we'll call that a good night then, I think.
We're back on Wednesday as I took Tuesday off. It's nice to have a little day in the week just to break up a full week of working. But I've come out super early today as I've offered to drop my girlfriend in the City of London. But I don't get in until just before 9 o'clock. Yes, she's doing a job somewhere near Bank Junction, so what better way of getting me out of the house, disguised as altruism, but mainly I can get to work pretty early.
Right, it's 8:45, not starting work just yet, hence why we can do this little recording. This is it. What do I do? Where do I go? I think I might grab some breakfast and just kind of work myself slowly into the day. Stations is the key, I think, but I don't know really what station I'm going to go to at this time or who's going to move around in the city. So I'm just going to get some breakfast, get settled in. The plan is I'm going to have a super long day. I need to work. I need a bit of wonga. And this time of year, like November through into December, is probably the best time to hit it hard. It's not been great as of yet. The schools have gone back. It was school holidays last week, but yeah, right, Bank Junction. Be bloody careful, Tom. Be bloody careful. Obviously, they're all setting up for the Lord Mayor's show, so that will all be closed here on the weekend. I've got a cyclist on that side of me. Right, why you would overtake there, I do not know.
Now, some of you might know that when I've worked morning shifts before, I'm absolutely terrible with it. I have no idea where to go. I end up doing my usual practice of heading around the West End. And the thing is, at like 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, no one's really about. It's either hotels or station work, primarily station work. So to kind of offset this problem a little bit, I decided to go to a green hut. Absolutely starving, could do with some breakfast, so I go to the one on Temple Place.
I never get out early enough because they shut around 2, 3 p.m, which is about the time I come to work. So I'm going to get in there and get some good grub to get my day started off right. Let's go. Beautiful. Proper nice, good value breakfast in there. Oh, that's exactly what I want it to be.
Absolutely incredible, Jude here. £6 it was for a full English breakfast with a tea. You can't get that anywhere in London, let alone in this wonderful Grade 2 listed establishment. In fact, because of how good this breakfast was, I actually gave Jude a Christmas hamper in a recent video. I'll leave that over there.
If you remember the public, which I'm sure you all are, and you want to go in there, well, you can actually get it from the takeaway hack. So you get the full green hut experience, but you can take it away, have a nice walk around London. Some of them want to open on Saturdays as well. So now we've just got to do the hard bit of going to work. 9:25, we're good to go.
Breakfast time over, it's time for me to face the reality of my job. Yep, I've got to go and find some work. I can't sit down the cafe all day. When I was sat there, I did speak with a driver in there who works daytimes. I said to him, what's the tip? And he just said, go west, head west. So on that cab driver's recommendation, I head in the Harrods direction, and I don't even need to join the rank before getting hailed down here on Brompton Road. Now this couple come up to me and the gentleman just shows me a phone. Doesn't give me a location, it's just a picture. That is of the Gherkin. He says, I want to go there. I think, right, cool, the Gherkin, St Mary Axe, let's go there. Nice big meaty job to get us started, but crucially, the time of day. Yes, it's about 10 o'clock at this point, and we're very close to changing of the guard, because the Mall is a very important road on this route. So I'm at a race to get to the Mall before they shut it for changing the guard. Otherwise, this route could get a lot more traffic than it needs to have. So we spin around using my Trevor Square trick, and leave that by Trevor Street. Going to get ourselves a right onto Knightsbridge, going past the very barracks where the horse guards will be coming from, to go to the change of the guard. We go past the Belgravia Hotel using this bit of bus lane to get ourselves into Knightsbridge, going past the Mandarin Hotel on the left hand side. You can see here as I come up the Hyde Park Corner slip road that the horse guards are actually making their way along South Carriage Drive. About to come through that little bit there by Apsley House, number 1 London. You literally can see the police there about to shut the junction there at Constitution Hill and Hyde Park Corner. Once we're in Constitution Hill, I'm safe. At the traffic lights and along the Mall, we're going to be going through Admiralty Arch. Of course, it gets a little bit heavy here, but once we're through, we're going to go around King Charles I Island, and we're going to leave by Northumberland Avenue. What I want to do is get ourselves onto the Victoria Embankment and use as much of that as possible to get us over into the city. Seeing that it gets a little bit busy up ahead, I take the left into Temple Place, going past the same green shelter I was eating breakfast in less than an hour ago, before getting a left into Arundel Street. We do the right here into the continuation of Strand before it becomes Fleet Street, going past the Royal Courts of Justice on the left hand side there. Royal Courts of Justice is actually for any kind of civil matters. You get a lot of things there like, say, Julian Assange or high profile divorces, that kind of thing, whereas the Old Bailey is actually the criminal court, i.e. murders and things like that. We go through Temple Bar, continue along Fleet Street before getting a left into Fetter Lane. I generally don't like going much further along Fleet Street here because I find that junction by Ludgate Circus always has traffic on it. Forward into New Fetter Lane. At Holborn Circus, we're going to get a right into Holborn Viaduct before forwarding into Newgate Street. Lots of redevelopment will be going on here in the St Paul's Gyratory project, so this is all going to change quite drastically in the coming year or so. But for now, we can get a left into King Edward Street before getting this little sneaky right into Angel Street, right into St Martin's Le Grand, and left into Cheapside. Another cool one we can do as taxis is the full length of Cheapside here. Because when I got these customers in, I did check it on the sat-nav. I wanted to see what it recommended as the best way to get to the city. So I think it wanted me to go over, if it wasn't Westminster Bridge, possibly Vauxhall, and come in via Elephant and Castle, and take about 46 minutes. That would have been ridiculous. We seem to be flying quite well here. Hopefully we can beat that. The other one that's not going to come up on the sat-nav is the fact that we as cab drivers can now use Bank Junction. This seriously speeds up the route. So forward into Poultry, going past the Ned, through Bank Junction, forward into Cornhill, and forward into Leadenhall Street. Exactly what we need. Just as we're going underneath the cheese grater, he can see it from here and he just says, hey, can I just get out here? Absolutely fine. 38 minutes. So not only was that a shorter distance than what the sat-nav was saying, it was also 8 minutes quicker. This is key stuff in the cab. Now, abiding by what that cab driver said to me in the Green Hut, I just think about heading west again. There doesn't seem to be too much action in the city. Little did I know that it'd be nearly 45 minutes until my next job. But rather than subject you to 45 minutes of pure boredom, I'm going to introduce the sponsor of today's video, who is, of course, YFood. Now, YFood have been supporting me for a very long time on this channel, both when I'm out in the taxi and at home editing. I know in this particular shift, I was able to park and get some food, but it's not always that easy, as you might have seen before. YFood are a complete ready-to-drink meal. There's a huge amount of protein inside of each one of these bottles, and they taste amazing. So I always chuck one in my bag, and they're good to go. Whether you're new to YFood or you're a long-term lover like me, now is the best time to stock up because they have 30% off of their taster packs. That includes flavors such as the smooth vanilla, happy banana, and the classic chocolate. But you've got to be quick because that's only for the next 5 days. To get that discount, just use taxi-YouTube or hit the link in the description down below. Go to the taster packs and go absolutely wild with that. That's unlimited on as many taster packs as you like. Right, now we're going to get back to work and soon be on to a job, I hope. I try everything heading west. A little bit of Oxford Street, bit of Mayfair, before eventually settling on the Dorchester rank.
Oh, this is not good. I mean, that job over to Harrods weren't bad. Did all right with that, but this is what I mean by days. It's just like, it's like one of those recurring nightmares where every time I come out, I'm like, it's just not going to work. It's not going to work. And lo and behold, it hasn't worked for me. But I don't know whether that's because the streets are just quiet or if that's just days. I've not done enough of them or really gone all in on days to know if that's the correct thing. So I'm just sitting at the Dorchester now because there's like no cabs here. So I'm thinking, well, it's going to be quick. But I think I've driven all the way from the city. I might as well have joined the Ned. Yeah, there was like 4 cabs there. But surely I would have got through that before being able to get all the way over to here. Unreal, really, unreal.
Sometimes it astounds me in this job. You can go hunting for what feels like hours and get nothing. Or you can go across town, just sit on one particular rank and get a job in minutes, if not seconds. This lady is after Orange Square. I've never heard of Orange Square. On the knowledge, restaurants and squares were my absolute nemesis. That being said, Orange Square was something I feel like I never learned on the knowledge. And turns out it's in that little Pimlico area, that triangle of Ebury Street and Pimlico Road. I think the pub nearby is called the Orange Tree or something along those lines. So to leave this, we have got to go back around that one-way system. We're on Deanery Street here, and we're going to get a right into Tilney Street, right South Audley Street, and we're going to get a right into Stanhope Gate, going past number 45 Park Lane Hotel. We get ourselves a left into Park Lane, go around Hyde Park Corner, and I'm going to enter Belgravia via Grosvenor Crescent. That just goes past the Peninsula Hotel. From Belgrave Square, I'm going to go down into Upper Belgrave Street and get a right into Eaton Place. Now, this runs parallel with the Eatons, but doesn't have any traffic lights. So yes, it can sometimes take longer because of the giveaway. It can sometimes be quicker. Forward Eaton Place, bare left Eaton Place, and we get a right into West Eaton Place before getting a left into Eaton Terrace. That just goes past the Antelope pub on the right hand side there. Forward over Cliveden Place and into the remainder of Eaton Terrace. Right into Ebury Street. And set the lady there at Orange Square.
Who knew? It's Orange Square. I never knew that. Well, first part, it's not a square, nor is it orange. It's like a triangle, isn't it? You learn something new every day. I can see it now on the sign over there. Westminster, Orange Square. Junction of Ebury Street and Pimlico Road. Right, that got me out of a little bit of a funk. Now we must move on.
Job number 2 done, but it's another slow half an hour for me. Annoyingly, Sloane Square rank is suspended. We was there 2 days ago, but as they're putting all the Christmas decorations and stuff in, they've put these fences up and the rank is not really accessible. Harrods is completely banged out with cabs, I can't get on there. And taking my friend Aziz's trick of just doing a Fulham Road and Kings Road loop, even the Chelsea and Westminster Hospital is pretty banged out. That's also a little tasty rank. But fortunately enough, on my return loop of the Fulham and Kings Road, I pick up this lady here by the Bluebird restaurant. She's after Hester Road. Now, this lady answers all of my prayers because it's a 2-drop job. We're going to be going over to Battersea before working our way back to Sloane Square. This is really nice because you get the distance of going out to Battersea, but you also get paid for coming back into somewhere a bit more central where you might pick someone else up. Beaufort Street and forward into Battersea Bridge. From Battersea Bridge, we forward into Battersea Bridge Road and left into Hester Road. We're just picking up a friend of hers from the Albion Riverside building. It's a real big development this, right on the Thames, right by Battersea Bridge, and you can make up your own opinion whether you like it or not. Now, from Hester Road, we need to get to Sloane Square. I could go back over Battersea Bridge, but there was a lot of traffic on the way over here, so I'm not going to sit back in that. Probably best if I use Albert Bridge. Now, you can get to Albert Bridge using Parkgate Road, and there's a little road that joins onto Hester Road called Elco Street. However, Hester Road is access only, so I don't want to risk that in case there's a camera that's catching people cutting the corner. So, back out onto Battersea Bridge Road before getting a left into Parkgate Road. You can also do left Howie Street, right Elco, and that's absolutely fine. Left Albert Bridge Road and forward into Albert Bridge. Now, Albert Bridge generally has less traffic on it because, of course, it has the width restriction, meaning you're not going to get buses and stuff like that there. right Chelsea Embankment, and we're going to get a left into Royal Hospital Road. Now, they're just off the bottom end of Sloane Street, right by Sloane Square. So, to cut this up a little bit, I'm going to take a left into Franklin's Row, right Turk's Road, left into Lower Sloane Street, going past the Sloane Club on the left-hand side. Comply by Sloane Square, and leave by Sloane Street, just dropping off after the bus stop here near Covent Gardens. Now I drive off into the Belgravia area, and I think we've had the worst part of the day, because just 5 minutes later, a hand goes up for me here at Belgrave Square. This lady is just after Annabelle's. Nice, short job, pulls me straight back into Mayfair, and hopefully by this time, Mayfair is a little bit more alive. Should be pretty simple, this one. Into Grosvenor Crescent, and around Hyde Park Corner. We'll leave that by Piccadilly, and I get a left into Stratton Street. Continue that round past the Mayfair, and I get a right into Berkeley Street. Now, I'm focusing so hard on the Novikov, and I'm about to drop her off, and then I get to the Novikov, and I say, here we go, we're here. And she looks back at me like, no, I wanted Annabelle's. Oh, she's absolutely fine with it, and I think I know exactly where I went wrong. When she got in, she had a Russian accent, and she says, Annabelle's. And I don't know why, my brain just went, oh yeah, Novikov. No problem though. We get the right into Mayfair Place, right and right back into Stratton Street, going back past the Mayfair Hotel, left into Berkeley Street, into Berkeley Square, and just drop her down on the left there. Now, I do the job for the price it was to get to the Novikov, so she saved a little bit of money, but she offers to put a tip on top anyway. Usually when something happens like this, it's just passenger expectation. I kind of laugh it off with like saying something like, maybe I was a little bit hungry, or I was thinking about food, and passengers are usually okay with this. And she was fine with it. She was like, honestly, things happen, and she still gave me a tip on top of what I charged her anyway. Now, surely the West End must have come alive by now. But I still have to go for a bit of a hunt for about 20 minutes or so before getting this job right at the heart of Piccadilly Circus. It's super annoying when this happens. Like, someone's held me in possibly one of the worst locations in central London. Like, I'm in the middle of Piccadilly Circus. But it's that or risk going empty for a while. And technically, there's nothing saying I'm not allowed to pick up here. It's just one of those annoying things. I can't really beckon him up Regent Street because that's not much better, and you sit on a bit of a blind bend if there's a bus come flying around there. So quickly load him in, and away we go. Also, picking up here means that we have good choices of exits. If we go up Regent Street and then he wants to go, say, Charing Cross direction, we've added quite a bit of time onto this journey. Luckily for us, he's only going up to Harley Street. There's only one way of running this. Straight up Regent Street. But thankfully, Regent Street isn't its usual mess. So we go forward Regent Street, forward over Oxford Circus, and forward into Regent Street. Forward into Langham Place, just going past the Langham Hotel, forward into Portland Place. And even though he gives me a specific number, he just wishes to be dropped here on the corner of Portland Place, by the Polish Embassy. He says, driver, put it up to £12. I think it was like £11.80. It's always quite funny when you get some real posh people do this. They just say, oh, put it up to that amount, and it's like a 20p tip. Yeah.
I've overcome my morning slump. It doesn't help, like, you know, you get to midday and my girlfriend texts me saying like, oh, I'm done. You know, you think, oh my God, like she's just gone in, earned a day's money. And I'm here like faffing around, and I've done like 2-3 jobs, you know. I think I'm at the point where I can swing it around in my favour, where I sort of know what I'm doing. But even that bloke, he asked for a specific number on Harley Street. Because sometimes the way Harley Street works, because it's one way, it's quicker to just drop them on the corner of Harley Street and Devonshire, or Harley Street and Weymouth Street. But because he gave me a specific number, that's usually like, I want to go to the door, right? Sometimes. And of course, going up Portland Place, he's like, oh, can you go left here? And I'm like, no, I can't go left in Weymouth. He wanted the corner of Devonshire and Harley, so I could have gone Devonshire and in, but he was like, I'll just get out and just walk from here. Not looking like a great week for me. Sunday, no work. Monday, okay. Tuesday at home. Wednesday, what day is today? Wednesday. Long day for me. Oh, after it's a start like the morning, you just think, oh, what's the point? What's the point? I could just sat around. I could just hung out in London, especially when you're proper grafting for it. You spend an hour and you think, oh, could have sat in a coffee shop for an hour. Who knows? Wish me luck.
As I'm close enough to Harley Street, I think I'm going to do the Harley and Wimpole loop. And I like this because the roads run one way. So even if there's like a whole chain gang of cabs going up and down Harley Street and Wimpole Street, someone steps out of a private medical institution and you're the cab going past, it doesn't matter how many cabs you're behind and they can't turn around to get the job. It's great. And we come down Harley Street, getting a job near the top there. This is great. They're just after Park Street. But the part of Park Street they want is up near the northern end, below Green Street but above Upper Brook Street. Let's get this one running. Down Harley Street and we get right into New Cavendish Street. It is a little bit heavy getting onto Marylebone High Street here. Sometimes Welbeck Street can cut a little bit of this off, but we continue down. Forward into Thayer Street, forward into Mandeville Place, we go right onto Wigmore Street. Going past the Selfridges staff entrance before getting a left into Orchard Street. Forward North Audley Street and we need to get ourselves a right into Green Street. Left into Park Lane, we're getting a left into Upper Brook Street. Left Park Street and drop the passengers there. Park Street is a little bit heavy northbound, so I use Lee's Place to escape this and nearly get taken out by a mighty facilities van.
What the hell? Jesus Christ.
Then have to go on a serious hunt, seeing this coach jump not just one, but 2 red lights in central London, before I finally feel the need to stop at the Astral Cafe to grab a tea, have a little bit of downtime.
It's ridiculous today. Like, there's a load of filming going on at the Regency Cafe. Obviously, they use that for filming for old school looking cafe sort of vibes. Yeah, I could barely park here. It's just annoying. You can't get any ranks, can't park, and then like there's not much work on the street either. It's just give me a cup of tea and just let me chill out for a bit. Nearly 2 o'clock. I mean, I would go sit on the Abbey, but that looked pretty banged out as I went past. Not really too sure what to do, really. Just go for a drive. Go for a drive. Just put a podcast on and go for a drive. That's all I can do.
Back into the game. Waterloo Place is shut at the bottom near Pall Mall, but you can get it if you go around St James's Square. Knowing this, I have a hypothesis that there's going to be less cabs in the Piccadilly westbound area. So I think I'm going to head to Fortnum and Mason. So St James's Square, Charles II Street, left into Regent Street St James's, left Piccadilly, and bosh, a hand goes up for me there. This lady is just off to Waterloo Station. Now we're pointing in the wrong direction, but we can very quickly get this back on track. We do the left into Duke Street St James's just after Fortnum and Mason, and we get a right into Jermyn Street. Going past the Piccadilly Arcade and the statue of that most fashionable man who was Beau Brummell. Left into St James's Street, comply by Marlborough Circus, leave by Marlborough Gate, forward Marlborough Road, and we get a left onto the Mall. Right into Horse Guards Road, going past Churchill War Rooms and the Treasury, before getting a left into Great George Street. Forward Parliament Square, forward Bridge Street, forward Westminster Bridge, forward Westminster Bridge Road, going around the Park Plaza Westminster, in through that little tunnel road that leads you into the station approach, and even the passenger comments on just how many cabs there are at Waterloo. We drop off at this silly drop. Now, knowing that there's a lot of cabs at Waterloo, and I've tried a lot of Mayfair areas and Knightsbridge and stuff like that, I'm going to think a little bit outside the box here. I'm going to head in the Borough Market direction. And this pays off, because as I get near Borough Market, Southwark Street, a hand goes up on the south side of the road here. These gents are just after St Giles High Street. So we spin it along, we go along Southwark Street. Southwark loosely translates as South Works. Forward Stamford Street. Comply by the Tennyson Way roundabout, we're going to go over Waterloo Bridge. Forward Waterloo Road, forward Waterloo Bridge. Forward Lancaster Place, and we're going to go into the Kingsway underpass. So straight through here and out into the Kingsway. But traffic is really, really solid. I sit here for a few minutes with the gents in the back, but of course they naturally bail. Can hardly blame them really. I managed to escape this traffic here on the Kingsway by ducking into Covent Garden, and right by the zebra crossing I have a hand guard.
So I might have to go here, I'm not allowed to stop on the crossing.
It's the usual pain point. This lady is after Selfridges. So spin it around on Bow Street and forward into Endell Street. Left into Shelton Street and forward into Upper St Martin's Lane. Do a right into Cranbourne Street to get a right onto Charing Cross Road, right by the Hippodrome Casino. Now this is probably the worst part of the journey. You know my disdain for the Charing Cross Road northbound traffic, but sadly there is no other option to overcome this. Left into Shaftesbury Avenue, going past Soho Fire Station, and we're going to take a right into Wardour Street, just on the corner there by Les Miserables. Heading up Wardour Street looks a little bit heavy, so I'm going to cut the corner by taking a left into Broadwick Street and a right into Poland Street. Left into Great Marlborough Street, and this is the line I want to set us up for. Sometimes if you go out to Oxford Street, it can be really busy by Oxford Circus and that west end of Oxford Street because of all the pedestrian crossings. But if you fly it through Mayfair, you can get some serious speed here. My one of choice is Maddox Street into Grosvenor Street. When we get a right into Davies Street, left Brook Street going past the Argentinian Embassy, before getting a right into Binney Street. Binney Street's lovely because there's no traffic lights on there and it can just pull you neatly left onto Oxford Street, and I just dropped the lady on the opposite side of the road here. She's more than pleased with this. As I'm in the Selfridges area, I might as well take a look at the rank, but you can see it's pretty banged out with some people really desperate to get onto that rank. It just looks so crap when cab drivers do this. Like, what is the need of this? I'll just go elsewhere. Let's try find something else. Fortunately enough, coming down North Audley Street, a hand goes up for me here. These people are after the London Eye. Nice, big roads, easy job. Leave that by Green Street, left into Park Lane, round High Park Corner, and we're going to get into Constitution Hill. Change of the guard is obviously long gone. We didn't have to worry about it on the last job. We went to Waterloo. This is absolutely fine. Going around the Queen Victoria Memorial and out the Spur Road, we're going to get a left into Birdcage Walk. Birdcage Walks forwards into Great George Street. Naturally, there's a little bit of traffic here. Forward into Parliament Square. Forward Bridge Street before getting ourselves onto Westminster Bridge. Now, depends on the customer's needs and such, but I give them the option to drop them here, because obviously you can see the London Eye. It just seems a bit weird to go round. And as always in precarious places like this, got to let your passengers know about the cycle lane, just because they can be in full-on tourist mode and have zero idea of the cycle lane. So just best to let them know. And it's another 20-minute gap before another job. It's a weird little time this in November. It's not school holidays, it's not quite Christmas time either. There's that weird little lull before hopefully the Christmas season will be picking up. Bit more hunting round St James's and the West End before eventually getting this job here on Piccadilly. So this is actually right by the Porter's Rest. Well worth having a look here. Before you get to the Bomber Command Memorial, a bit further along near High Park Corner, just by the bus stop here, there is this tall shelf-like thing. And this is actually a replica because the original was removed and I think it was lost, etc. But these would have been dotted around London in quite affluent areas. Basically, if porters were ever moving heavy boxes and items for rich, opulent people, they could put them on this rest because it's about shoulder height without having to put the goods or the cargo down on the floor. Just means they could put them here, have a little bit of a rest before carrying on. Anyway, this lad, I think he was just waiting for the bus and was a bit lazy, so decided to get a taxi. He's just off to Montpellier Square. So, simple one, we just got to duck into the underpass. Remember that nightmare closure where the Piccadilly underpass was closed both ways for all of summer? Well, this is the result. They've put these little ventilation fans up in here, and as a result they've had to get rid of the 2 lanes that were going in there. From here we forward into Knightsbridge, and rather than going down Brompton Road, because that can be a little bit slow, I opt to drop it in from the top. Left Trevor Place, right into Montpellier Square, and just drop him down on the corner here. Seems apt to have a little bit of a break at the restaurant here on Montpellier Street.
Early dinner, late lunch. Still quite full up from that, from that breakfast this morning, you know. I'm feeling okay now. I feel like I'm in the groove of things, but today is the worst of both worlds, which is rank's full and traffic's mega. Not mega, but annoying. Like, it just seems to be a lot of places. Junction of Park Street and Oxford Street, traffic lights. Big traffic lights on Russell Square. And everywhere else just seems heavy for no real apparent reason. As a wise man once told me, a cab driver that moans about traffic is like a sailor moaning about seasickness. You just get on with it. I'm going to fuel up. I might get out and stretch my legs a bit later. Maybe somewhere like not as busy as here. It's the problem with this job, and it's kind of the cab driver's conundrum. You either, if it's busy, then you're just out here rinsing it in. And if it's not busy, then you're trying to work harder to try and find the work. So you're always go, 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 which is the sort of downside to this job, really. It's not as easy as just parking up and going for a little walk. Some of the older drivers are a lot better to it, and obviously it depends on your own financial circumstances. But the way I see it, when I come to work, when I come to London, when I'm in the cab, I'm here to work. I'm not to have a jolly up, you know?
Moving on, we're near Harrods. So as the streets have been a little bit slow, I'm going to try the Harrods ranks. Side door is banged out. The back door is banged out. This isn't looking good. Thankfully, it was 10 minutes since dropping my last job before getting on to the next job, here at Hyde Park Corner. This is really lucky. It's a little bit of an odd place for someone to howl me down, if I'm completely honest. Now, these people are after Covent Garden. Whenever someone says Covent Garden, if I'm west of it, I'll generally drop around Henrietta Street. It's probably one of the closest access points from the west to be able to get to that main piazza market. If you're approaching from the east, it's probably best to drop on Russell Street near the rank there. For to run this one, super nice that we are here on Hyde Park Corner, meaning we can get Constitution Hill for what feels like the millionth time today. Comply by the Queen Victoria Memorial, leaving that by the Mall, through Admiralty Arch, going past the Captain Cook statue on the south side there. Comply by King Charles I Island, leave by the east side of Trafalgar Square, forward St Martin's Place, we're getting right into William IV Street, left into Chandos Place, left Bedford Street, and drop them on the end of Henrietta Street. Well, I miss the days when you could drive up and down here. Maiden Lane, Henrietta Street, Southampton Street. Alas. Maybe one day we'll get them back, who knows. Now, from where I am, if I want to head west in the kind of Selfridges, the kind of main activity directions, I've got to go via Charing Cross Road. So, Cranbourne Street, Charing Cross Road, and amazingly, I get a job here. Sweet. The lady is just after Fortnum and Mason. Super simple run, we just need to get to Shaftesbury Avenue, down Great Wimble Street, forward Haymarket, right Charles II Street, right Regent Street St James's, left Piccadilly, and set down Fortnum and Mason. We get on our way, we get through Charing Cross Road, left into Shaftesbury Avenue, and for some reason, she just wishes to be dropped here, right by Albert Schloss. For basically just turning left on the Shaftesbury Avenue, comes to £6, and she leaves me a tip as well. Touch. That's quick money in the cab. Now, as we was heading in the Fortnum and Mason direction, I'm going to try my hypothesis that I had earlier, which is Waterloo Place being shut means that I'm going to try and get to Fortnum and Mason Piccadilly direction. There's not going to be any cabs there. I don't get hailed along the way, but there's no cabs waiting on the rank, so I sit outside there for a little bit. Eventually getting another quite short job, this time to Basil Street. Not that bad, because Basil Street is just round the back of Harrods, so I'm in another prime location to hopefully pick up again. From here we just go forward into Piccadilly forward into Piccadilly Underpass, come out the other side into Knightsbridge. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a left into Sloane Street, because what I offer is, do they want to be dropped on the end of Basil Street? Sometimes some people only want that little bit where Basil Street joins onto Sloane Street. But as these people are a little bit less able with their mobility and they want the bit of Basil Street a bit nearer to Harrods, I go all the way round for them. So we get a right into Hans Crescent, right into Basil Street, and drop them on the right hand side there. I just get out and help them get out of the cab because they're a little bit slower. They just need a bit of support, some passengers. Leaving Basil Street, I have one of the biggest touches, which is picking up on Pavilion Road. Not even the bit of Pavilion Road right down near the bottom near Sloane Square. No, this is the Pavilion Road like up near the top. It's just basically like a random back alley. Amazing. What are the chances of this? Gentlemen, is just after Old Bond Street, where like Old Bond Street is kind of near Clifford Street. It's right near the statue of Churchill and I think Roosevelt. Two of them sat on the bench, Prime Minister and a President, basically. Leave Pavilion Road by Hans Crescent, right into Sloane Street, left into Cadogan Place, forward Lowndes Street before getting forward into West Hawkins Street. From there we're going to get into Belgrave Square and leave by Grosvenor Crescent, but unfortunately it is building up a little bit at this time of day. Round Hyde Park Corner, forward into Piccadilly, and this time we're going to go up Albemarle Street, right Grafton Street, and set down on the left there, this little pedestrianised part. Now it's quite heavy getting into Piccadilly, so maybe there's lots of people loading up for later on. Who knows, it could be a bit busier this evening. My plan for today is either work to a monetary target or just do a really long day. I left the house at 7:30 this morning. Maybe today I can have a blowout and I'll just take tomorrow off. Not too far along Piccadilly, and I get this gentleman by the Royal Academy. He wishes to go to Newington Causeway. Specifically, there's a bit there by the Rockingham Arms, which is the Weatherspoons in that whole Elephant and Castle area. Nice meaty job. It's probably one of the longer jobs that I've done today. So, how are we going to run it? So we're stuck in that Piccadilly bit, so we've got to go all the way to Piccadilly Circus. And from Piccadilly Circus, we're going to go down the Haymarket before getting a left into Pall Mall East. Round Trafalgar Square, comply by King Charles I Island, and leave that by Whitehall. Whitehall forward into Parliament Street and left into Bridge Street, setting herself up for Westminster Bridge. En route, we're having quite deep conversation. This passenger is just one of those real nice, salt of the earth people that just opens up with any kind of conversational gambit and just gives you a lot of time and presence in the cab. One of the things that can make this job so much less stressful and much easier, can really make traffic ride if you get into a really good conversational flow with your passengers. We go over Westminster Bridge and into Westminster Bridge Road. Continue that along past Lambeth North Station, and we're going to get ourselves into St George's Circus. This isn't too bad for taxis approaching from the west because we have this little bus lane we can skip around the lights here, before getting our way into London Road. Now, London Road is probably one of the worst I've ever seen it. And if you'd have watched my recent videos where I do some of the worst road junctions in London, you'll know that St George's Circus and London Road are on that list. Just look how many of us are trying to get into this one single lane to turn left. And it doesn't help that the bus stop is the same as the left-hand turn lane. So the buses immediately nab that left turn. So difficult here. Eventually get into Elephant and Castle, leave by Newington Causeway, and he just wants to be dropped at these gates here. Difficult job, taking 37 minutes in total. From here, I just head back the same direction I came. I don't really fancy ranking up at Waterloo, anywhere like that. I'm just going to head to the Parliament Square area and just see what we can get from there. And as I go up Whitehall, hand goes up there. She wants to go to Stratford. Cool, this is a pretty meaty job. Can be a bit difficult at this time of day though, because it is that evening rush hour of people getting home. Now, particularly the area Stratford she's after is quite near Stratford International Station, specifically Anthon's Way. So, let's give it a go. Forward Whitehall, and rather going all the way up to King Charles I Island, we're going to get right into Horse Guards Avenue. That goes past the Ministry of Defence on the right-hand side. You know it's the Ministry of Defence because it's these big, massive steel doors that make it look like some kind of impenetrable fortress. Before going left onto the Victoria Embankment, my plan here is just to ride it all the way out. You can sometimes wiggle through the city, but can be a little bit problematic. I am using the sat-nav on this one because very rarely do I do a long old job like this out of town during the going home rush hour traffic. This is basically suggesting the highway. So, Victoria Embankment, forward Upper Thames Street, forward Lower Thames Street, forward Byward Street, forward Tower Hill, going past Tower Bridge there, and forward into East Smithfield. Forward the highway, before getting into the Limehouse Link Tunnel. From here it's pretty clear, we're out onto Aspen Way, going to exit off here and go up Preston's Road and forward into Cotton Street. What we're trying to do is get onto the A12. You can see what I'm doing here, I'm just using all the quick roads. Right East India Dock Road, left into St Leonard's Road before getting into the Blackwell Tunnel Northern approach. That's then the A12. So, all the way up the East Cross route, onto the A12 and exit off there. We're going to be coming in via Waterden Road. I know this kind of well because when I used to do my appearances, I would park at Stratford and I'd take the Jubilee line to Southwark because my appearances were in the Blackfriars Road area. A lot of this area was actually used as the Olympic Village. It's still referred to as Olympic Village, but where all the athletes actually stayed during that time when the Olympics was held here in 2012. So along Waterden Road, forward into Westfield Avenue, and annoyingly, the bridge is shut. That's Olympic Park Avenue. So we've got to go all the way around. So left into International Way, going past Stratford International Station. Left into Celebration Avenue. Left Honour Lee Avenue. Left Olympic Park Avenue. Before getting the left into Anthon's Way. And even more amazingly, this lady chucks a tip on it. Wow.
Right, we'll call that a good night then, I think. That will do. I mean, remember, obviously I'm up at 7. I was up at 7 this morning. It's 7:30 now. So I've been out for 12 hours. You could say it's a standard day for me. I was excited to have a long day in town, but sometimes when the energy's not there, you need something to kind of get you through it. Like you need a bit of stamina. I was going to go until a certain monetary figure or until about 11 o'clock. And as the monetary figure was sort of fast approaching, in the evening, and I've had one out to Stratford. From here, it's 35 minutes for me to get home, so I can still have a little bit of an evening.
Thanks again for watching. If you've made it this far into the video, then do hit the subscribe button down below. I'll leave another one on screen for you to watch now.